Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What's the most morally questionable thing you've ever done but would never admit to in real life? I had a drug addict uncle who kept getting let out of jail. He was trying to rob Granny's house. I told him I had a one-time job that was 6 hours away. I drove 6 hours away, stopped at gas station and gave him $50 to go get snacks. Then I drove off and left him. The only questionable thing you did was only driving 6 hours. I bought my stalker, who was terrorizing me and my friends, a one-way bus ticket to the other side of the country, knowing he could never afford to get back. Best $400 I ever spent. This is where context is important. British 6-hour drive, enjoy Belgium. Canadian 6-hour drive, how was the commute today? Canadian 6-hour drive, how was the commute today? Toronto is 6 hours away from Toronto. I don't have a problem admitting it in real life because the statute of limitations has long since expired, but my boss at a PC repair shop emptied the payroll account to buy himself a brand new BMW, so all of his employees quit. But I decided that if he wasn't willing to pay me in money, he damn sure was going to pay me in inventory, so I walked out with enough parts to build me a new PC, somewhat more than my paycheck would have been, but PC parts don't pay the rent, so I charged a conversion fee. Closing parenthesis. Nothing immoral about taking what you're owed. If I'm not mistaken, wage theft is the largest form of theft in the US. I got laid off in 2009 and couldn't find work for almost 2 years. Found a job in the industry I loved, motorcycles, and they took advantage of my obvious desperation. Came in as an operations coordinator at $11 per hour after 4 years working as a business analyst, directly under a VP at Citrix. Worked my ass off and, within 6 months, was doing the job of an operations manager, analyst. I developed, supported the backbone of nearly every department's analytics. My manager didn't like me she saw me as a threat to her job. Her boss's boss, the COO, knew the value I offered for practically nothing. So, being the good executive leader she was, blocked every attempt at promotions or department transfer opportunity that came my way. Marketing, and HR all made attempts to create jobs for me after seeing the quality, value of my work in projects I did for them. After 18 months, and threats to quit, I was up to $40,000 per year. Less than half of what the HR team's market analysis calculated my pay should be based on our location and my role, scope, and responsibilities. I know about it because the HR director showed it to me after I'd started working with them extensively on the departmental analytics and had developed a very close relationship. She then mentioned that the COO told her, "So what? He makes what he makes." After HR informed the COO I was making a fraction of my fair market value. By this point, my self-confidence had started to re-establish itself and my resentment of my department, boss, and COO had festered into a roiling fire. Then I did a favor for the warehouse manager. I built an Excel, access time and attendance tool since the one we'd been using didn't work well for warehouse staff. It was super accurate, handled OT and respected the big labor laws around lunch requirements. In vetting the accuracy, I found that the company was applying CA law to stores in every state. I saved the company $75,000 per year when I called it out. In an attempt to get to my HR established market rate, I asked for a bonus pay increase for having saved them to X my salary per year. Their reply, saving the company money is part of your job. If you ask for a raise again, you'll be written up and possibly fired. I'd had enough. I found another, much better job at a niche distributor in the industry and, on my way out, contacted the DOL and informed them, with receipts, of severe wage theft by the company, employer intimidation and retaliation against whistleblowing, job discrimination against several employees and myself. The company was forced to pay $2 million in back pay and $3 million in fines. Morally, nothing wrong with what I did above. The morally questionable part is meticulously breaking all automation I'd created 3.5 months before I left. All of the, now business critical, reporting I'd built was hard-coded. No formulas. When they asked me to train someone to take over, I said no problem, trained him to do it manually, which took 20 to 30 hours per week vs 1 to 2. A few months later the HR director let me know my job was posted again. At $95 minus $110K per year. I notified the DOL and shared all the documents of my responsibility, market adjustment requests, the HR job analysis, and an email comment from the COO that she didn't feel I was worth market rate since I have only one arm. I never saw a cent, but the company was, again, fined substantially and the COO was immediately fired. Fuck you, Tracy. ETA, got called out for making it up, including the arm bit. You got me. I have 2 arms but only one functions below the shoulder. If that's not enough. Edit 2, more Tracy background. She was a known shyster. Tracy was forced out of her job as CEO of Sharper Image because of fraud and, I heard, embezzlement. 4 of the company's executives were from Sharper Image, all hired at the same time. Never be loyal to a company, they are never ever loyal to you. I wouldn't have trained shit. As soon as that came around, either woulda wrote up a big ass bill or just said no. I did the training just so I had something to do my last week there, and he was a friend. I conveyed the story, and training, to him just so that his life wasn't miserable until they hired my replacement. 3 days after giving my 2-week notice, COO emailed me to ask if I could come in after my last day for 2 to 3 weeks worth of time, as a contractor, to wrap up some projects and do more in-depth training for some directors. I replied something to the effect of, "Hi Tracy, I would be willing to return as a SME contractor, per your request. The minimum terms of my acceptance are 2 weeks, 80 hours minimum contract at $144.27 per hour, paid 50% in advance. Any additional work to be billed in 8-hour increments in advance. Warm regards, CG_ops. It was a subtle, fuck you, to her because that was her exact hourly rate. I know because, one of my responsibilities, since day one with company, was to maintain the PTO accrual, utilization tracking document. The file included the hourly rate of every employee in the company, from CEO to store cashiers, further showing how dumb the company was, e.g. giving that kind of sensitive info to her $11 per hour ops coordinator. She never responded to me or looked me in the eye for the rest of my last 1.5 weeks. Petty, but cathartic. Removed. Shit dude, you gave him hell. Yeah, I'm working on getting his address so I can sign him up for Mormon visits. Once when I was like 8, I killed a tadpole in a puddle on a rock formation on vacation somewhere by hitting it with a stick. Instant remorse once I noticed it died. Note, my dad died not long before that, also when I was 8. That shit was a nasty ass revelation. The inner turmoil maimed me. I'm sorry tadpole, I'm almost 36 now. I wish it was me and not you. Edit, Jeebus, I didn't expect the amount of comments and support, you guys are awesome. Damn, that's whatever I think when I remember. Damn sad, damn stupid. Damn idiot. I accidentally went over a pair of mating frogs with the lawnmower once. The frog on top didn't make it, but I guess he died doing something he loved. Hopefully none of the resulting tadpoles made it to a rock formation near you. 3rd grade in the 80s, the teacher found a Playboy centerfold a few of us had been passing around. We all blamed a kid that never saw it. He got paddled 7 times in the hallway outside, screaming and begging like he was being murdered. Half the school could hear. Wherever you are Steven, I'm sorry. Damn, he definitely still thinks about that. And now his kink is getting spanked. The worst part is he probably got beat again when he got home. Drugged my stepdad when I was 14 with Ambien in his drink because my nana told me to. He was a violent man, but when I say he slept for 2.5 days I mean it. Holy shit. How much did you drug him with? Probably the best sleep in years though. Probably the best peace the family had in years. Was working in a warehouse as an order filler. Was all the way in the back of a freezer when I suddenly became very sick to my stomach. I raced as fast as I could to the nearest bathroom, but before I could get all my layers of clothing off it was too late. I was a mess. I went to my supervisor and tried to gently convey what was going on. His words were, "Just clean up and get back to work." He said this multiple times as I tried to explain why that wasn't an option. Was told I would receive points for leaving. I got so pissed off at the situation that I took all my soiled clothing, locked it in my locker with a personal lock and never went back. To whoever had to clean that mess, I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that. And to my old supervisor, you suck. Shit, if you were going to leave it there you may as well have just left it somewhere the supervisor would definitely find it instead. On his desk would have been a good place. Was let go from my first job for making my boss look bad for finishing daily tasks too quickly, and being open about the division not being efficient. He made an example of me so others would back off. So when the company asked me to come in for an exit interview, I told them I had nothing to say but to follow my boss outside at lunch to the parking lot if you fancy an interesting view. He was arrested for possession and distribution of cocaine, got a year in jail and life pretty much ruined. I bumped into him about 3 months after he was released while walking around a mall, and he told me I ruined his life, which I then came back and said, "You had me fired for trying to make the company better, cheers." Quote, felt bad he got the year in jail, and looked like hell, but that's not morally questionable. You did a solid favor to everyone. Fuck around limit exceeded, commence find out protocol. In my early 20s, our apartment got burglarized. Most of what they took wasn't very valuable, but I had 2 silver pocket watches I inherited from my grandpa that probably would have fetched $3,000 combined. The problem was that my renter's insurance policy limited jewelry losses to $1,000. Conveniently, my roommate had lost a really expensive 35mm camera and his insurance policy only covered $1,000 for it. He also worked at a computer store. So I gave him documentation on one of the pocket watches, and he gave me a backdated fake receipt for a computer. We were both able to adjust our claims and get extra money out of our insurance companies to help with our losses. Thank God we used different insurance companies at the time. Fuck insurance companies, you did nothing wrong. 1000% this. My insurance adjuster said literally the same thing when my house flooded like 8 or 9 years ago. He was like, fuck them, you're getting the maximum payout of your policy. Quote, for anyone else dealing with this, anytime you make an insurance claim that involves stolen or damaged property, be exhaustively specific with every single item and its model. Insurance generally has to pay replacement costs, which can get pricey really quick if they've gone up in value as a result of no longer being on the market. If you put down a toaster, congratulations, you get $5 for the cost of a bargain bin mechanical toaster at Walmart. If you specify the exact model of toaster and it turns out it's a $50 model with lots of bells and whistles, you get $50.